Good morning, everybody. This is Archana here from Read, Write, Inspire. I started off the year rereading Haruki Murakami's classic book, What I Talk About When I Talk About Running. I wanted to share with all of you my thoughts on this book and also why I feel this little book can be so inspiring for writers around the world. Harukami's brilliant memoir illustrates how his daily routine of running and writing intersect and complement each other. It gives a glimpse into his creative process that makes sure he has a constant reservoir of unique ideas and the energy to bring them to life. I read this book on my Kindle a few years ago. Recently, I invested in a paperback version of the book and I was looking forward to dive into it with my pencil, underlining my favorite passages and taking and making my own notes of my thoughts as I read the book again. If all this is something that interests you, then you should consider subscribing to this YouTube channel. I have many more such videos lined up for you. One special quality of this little book is that it could mean different things to different people. I am not sure if Murakami wanted it to. He could have just meant it to be a simple and straightforward memoir of his adventures of running. However, I am spotting metaphors whether he intended them or not. Let me share with you a few thoughts from the book that resonated with me strongly. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Murakami could be talking about long distance running, but I think this sums up life itself. He talks about how he constantly pushes his body against its earlier limits. He talks about endurance and keeping up with his efforts, despite whatever may be his feelings or his suffering. Second one, keep up the rhythm. Murakami says that he runs every single day. Even if he is forced to take a break due to bad weather, he never misses 2 days in a row. He says that he follows this same tack with writing a novel too. The older you get, the busier you become. Don't assume that your calendar is going to get free sometime in the future and make it easier to write your book. At least, that's what I take away from that quote, whether he meant it or not. There is no such thing as winning or losing. That's true, there is no such thing as winning or losing for a novelist. You are not in competition with anyone else. What matters is whether you have attained the standards you have set for yourself. Basically, a writer has a quiet inner motivation, he says, and doesn't seek validation in the outwardly visible. Actively seek out solitude. Murakami says emotional hurt is the price a person has to pay in order to be independent. He insists how important it is to create your own independent self even at the risk of being misunderstood and criticized. It is this ability to see things differently in a way that is uniquely yours that allows you to create stories that are only yours. Is it ever possible for a professional writer to be liked by people? I think that question answers itself. The indispensable relationship that a writer should build is not with a specific person, but with his or her readers. Murakami focused on his writing, not on the people around him. He says he set his daily life in a way that each of his work was an improvement over the last one. And this is the way he built this relationship that he shares with his readers. It suits me. According to Murakami, willpower alone isn't enough for a person to get things done. Humans do things they like, whether it is running or writing. If you don't like it, you cannot force yourself to do it for a long period of time. If I used being busy as an excuse not to run, I'd never run again. Though he talks about running, I think it also applies to reading and writing. If you don't do it because you are busy, you are never going to find time to get it done. What's the most important quality a novelist has to have? Murakami answers this question, which he says is frequently put to him in interviews. So he answers this in the 4th chapter of the book. The first thing he mentions is literary talent. If a person completely lacks any literary talent, they shouldn't consider a career as a novelist. You cannot control the quality and the amount of talent you possess, though you can take efforts to increase it. He also says talent can dry up unexpectedly too. Second thing he insists on is focus. Murakami says that if a person can focus effectively, they can even make up for their limited talent. Murakami focuses on his writing for 3 to 4 hours every morning. He says, I sit at my desk and focus totally on what I'm writing. I don't see anything else. I don't think about anything else. The third quality he insists on is endurance. A novelist needs the energy to focus every day for 6 months, 1 year, or even 2 years continuously. If a person focuses on writing for 3 to 4 hours a day, every day for a week, and then they just grow tired after a single week, they will not be able to make it as a novelist. Both focus and endurance, he says, can be acquired and sharpened through training. Sit down every day at your desk and focus on one point, and gradually you'll expand the limits of what you're able to do. This is what Murakami says. You require a lot of physical stamina to do this, he insists, and it is as much a manual labor as a mental labor. With patience, you will get great results. Putting the cart before the horse. Though Murakami runs every day, though he participates in marathons and triathlons in every year, he doesn't take part in a full-scale triathlon or in an ultra-marathon, as the training schedules for them are quite strenuous and that would eat into his writing time. He views exercise as a pathway to maintain his physical fitness so that he can keep writing his novels. He cannot allow that to take over his writing time. That felt like a wake-up call to me. Many times, activities that I start to do and just because I think they would support my writing seem to take over my writing time itself. Something else that appealed to me was Murakami's strict adherence to the rules that he drafted for himself. For instance, he has this rule that he would never ever walk in a marathon. So he says that if he breaks one rule, then he is bound to break many more too. That's true with me, and that must be true with you too. Usually it's the day that I skip gym that I end up munching on murukus at home or gobbling some sweets for dessert. When I slide all the way down. However, when I cling on to one good habit, that seems to magnetically pull the others too. So, This is all that I took away from Murakami's book, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you liked the video, please click like below. Consider subscribing to the channel and stay tuned for many more such videos. This is Archana signing off. Bye.